from ABC7 Live Breaking News.
Now at 6, we are waking up to major news that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, has died. He was 99 years old.
That announcement coming just about 2 hours ago from Buckingham Palace. Jobina is at the live desk with more on what we're learning this morning. Jobina.
Thank you, Reggie and Kamasi. Buckingham Palace says Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, passed away peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle. Last month, the prince returned home following a month-long stay in the hospital where he underwent a heart procedure. Philip was born in 1929 in the Greek and Danish royal families. In 1947, he married Elizabeth, the future Queen of England. The couple had 4 children, including the heir to the British throne, Prince Charles, 8 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren. At the age of 95, Prince Philip withdrew from public life after 70 years of public service. A short time ago, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson paid tribute to the prince, saying in part, quote, "Like the expert carriage driver that he was, he helped to steer the royal family and the monarchy so that it remains an institution indisputably vital to the balance and happiness of our national life," end quote. And here's a live look from London right now. As we can see, mourners are beginning to gather outside of Buckingham Palace, paying their respects. In a statement, the royal family says further announcements will be made in due course. But we do know Prince Philip has said he does not want the traditional ceremonial funeral, and attendance could be limited because of COVID-19 restrictions still in place in England. Reggie.
Thank you, Jobina. ABC7 News sent out this push alert just moments after the palace announced Prince Philip's death. To get breaking news right to your phone, just download the ABC7 News app. Going to check in now on our weekend weather with Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Reggie. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Let's start this Friday off by showing you some cloud cover, some low clouds shooting through the San Bruno Gap. And this is SFO, where you can see it is cloudy. I zoomed down on Live Doppler 7. All that gray you see is cloud cover. And it's being pushed to the east-southeast by these strong onshore breezes that are going to be a dominant feature in our forecast again today. Here's a look at what's going on with those temperatures. Mid to upper 50s along the coast with those fastest winds, and that does spill into San Francisco. Low to mid 60s around the bay and some upper 60s to low 70s inland. But I want to return to San Francisco because it is opening day. Rockies and Giants, 1:35 at Oracle Park. Dress the part, mid to upper 50s. You'll have sunshine, but it's going to be breezy and chilly. Kamasi?
All right, thank you, Mike. Now to our other top story this morning. The San Francisco Giants will be welcoming fans back to Oracle Park today. And it's not only their first home game of the season, but also their first game with fans in the stands since the pandemic started last year. ABC7 News reporter Amy Hollyfield live outside the ballpark with what fans can expect. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Yeah, team executives are excited. They say they haven't had fans here in 18 months. It's going to be a very different experience, though. They've made a lot of changes to try and make sure it is a safe experience for fans as we still fight this COVID virus. So fans will be required to show a negative COVID test at the gate, or they can show they have been fully vaccinated for at least 2 weeks. They will be assigned a gate. The stadium has been divided into 9 zones. So you will enter a gate in one of those zones, and then you'll use the restrooms and the concessions in those areas. And they're doing that to keep everyone spread apart. Fans will order food from their seats on their phones, and then they'll pick it up when they receive word that it's ready. It's a lot. Team executives say they've worked hard to put all of this into place. They say it's worth it, though, to get to see their fans.
This is the very first big event in San Francisco since we all shut down back in March. So it's absolutely imperative that people take the extra step to get tested or show their fully vaccinated card. Because, you know, it's not just what's going on in the ballpark, it's the surrounding community, and we want to create a safe environment for everyone.
They're only allowed to have 8,900 fans here, only allowed to have 22% of the ballpark capacity. They don't know when that will change, so that's why they've only sold tickets for April games. They want to wait and see what the health department's going to say they can do in May. This game today, the home opener, is sold out, but they tell us there are still tickets available for games this weekend if you'd like to come. Reporting live in San Francisco, Amy Hollyfield, ABC7 News.
Thank you, Amy. Now to the latest on COVID-19 in California. The state reported more than 2,000 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday. There were 129 deaths. The state's 7-day positivity rate is just under 2%, and these figures have held steady in the past week. Johnson & Johnson now warning again about that drop in the supply of its vaccine next week. Available doses of J&J's vaccine expected to drop nearly 85% nationwide from around 5 million this week to just 785,000. The governor of Illinois blames a mix-up of ingredients at a Baltimore plant that ruined millions of doses yet to be sent out.
15 million doses would have been distributed over some time to the states, and those are lost.
Federal officials insist it won't affect overall distribution goals. Vaccination sites in North Carolina and Colorado temporarily stopped giving J&J shots after a small number of people had adverse reactions. Health experts say side effects are normal. They insist the vaccines are safe.
Happening today, a push to get California's Black and Latinx communities vaccinated. Senator Alex Padilla and civil rights leader Dolores Huerta will join State Superintendent Tony Thurmond for a virtual discussion. This is the first in a series of roundtables that are designed to raise awareness and hopefully increase vaccination rates. Experts will address common concerns and questions about the vaccines. Today's panel will stream on the State Department of Education's Facebook page starting at 11 this morning. People with limited access to Wi-Fi or a computer have a new advocate in the Bay Area when it comes to finding a vaccine appointment. A group of tenacious UC Berkeley students is helping out with a new phone line. ABC7 News reporter Cornell Bernard gave a call to Shotline.
I feel good. I feel more confident, and then I can go places.
66-year-old Evelyn Turbin from San Leandro is now vaccinated.
I got Johnson & Johnson.
The one shot?
Yes.
Evelyn tried for weeks to get an appointment, but navigating the internet wasn't easy for her until she spotted this flyer with the number offering help.
Thank you for calling Shotline, a volunteer-run COVID-19 vaccination hotline.
But what is Shotline? Is it even legit?
There have been a couple of people who called and said, hey, I saw your flyer, but I wasn't sure if it was real or not.
It's the real deal. Shotline started only weeks ago by a group of UC Berkeley fellowship students with one mission.
Our goal is really to eliminate mainly the technological barriers to COVID-19 vaccination registration.
Please keep in mind that you're speaking with a volunteer who's trying their best to get you a vaccination appointment.
Bridging the digital divide in many underserved Bay Area communities is why these students are digging in to help at no charge. Erin Kramer says Shotline was born after a conversation she had with her 93-year-old neighbor.
And she was standing on her porch waiting for me, holding her old iPhone, and asking me for help to sign up for the vaccination.
Shotline will even provide free transportation if you need a ride to your appointment, thanks to a funding grant. In less than 2 weeks, 60 people have gotten appointments.
They called me back, and I got an appointment, I want to say 3 or 4 days later.
Evelyn is grateful. Shotline is looking for more volunteers. Organizers say they will keep going as long as vaccination appointments are needed. In Oakland, Cornell Bernard, ABC7 News.
You can keep track of California's vaccine progress anytime at abc7news.com/vaccine. You'll find our interactive vaccine tracker, the differences between each vaccine, and a form where you can send us questions.
There is an urgent situation unfolding on the Caribbean island of St. Vincent. Thousands of people under evacuation orders because there's a volcano on the verge of erupting. Jabina Fortson at the live desk with information. Jabina.
Thank you, Reggie. As many as 16,000 people are in the pathway of the potential lava and ash as authorities warn the St. Vincent volcano could explode at any moment. This morning, Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruise Lines are sending multiple ships to transport residents to nearby islands, but the pandemic is posing an extra challenge here. The Prime Minister says anyone boarding a ship should be vaccinated. Steam and smoke has been rising from the volcano for days.
This is not a drill. This is an emergency. Persons with children, those that are disabled, we're allowing you to board first.
Evacuated residents who do not board a cruise ship will take shelter on the island outside of the danger zones. The volcano last erupted in 1979. Thousands of people left the island, and thankfully there were no deaths. Reggie and Kamasi.
All right, thank you, Jabina. Still ahead, repairs on Highway 1 ahead of schedule when drivers can expect the road near Big Sur to reopen.
And a first look at Disneyland's newest attraction opening in just a couple months.
Here's a live look from San Jose. 280 at 17. Looks like it's going to be a very colorful sunrise for you. 47 and calm. And as we look throughout the day, it's going to be windy at our beaches. A small craft advisory on our bay. So being outside is going to be a little more difficult today than this weekend. And I'll have that forecast coming up. All right, we're back at 6:11 on a Friday. Neighborhood temperatures, we're mainly in the upper 40s to near 50 in the mostly cloudy peninsula. But look at that, Redwood City, Menlo Park, 42 and 40 for the cool spots. We got 50 along the East Bay Shore to 49 in San Jose and Concord, 40 in Napa right now. San Rafael about 45 degrees. 49s, we look from our roof camera, and you can see just how breezy it is, 10 to 17. So those early morning joggers are going to have quite a chill on the Embarcadero. We'll stay in the 50s along the coast. We'll be near 60 around our bay and inland neighborhoods at noon. Mid to upper 60s, 64 to 68 at 4 o'clock. But grab a jacket this evening, low to mid 50s already by 7 o'clock. And the sun still doesn't set for another 40 minutes. All right, breezy conditions, 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock today, south of the Bay Bridge, 3 o'clock this afternoon to 9 o'clock this evening, north of the Bay Bridge through the Delta. We're pushing pollen, and a lot of it all the way through the weekend. Juniper, oak, and sycamore are the biggest pollutants, if you will. Jovina, you may agree with that.
Shout out to Allegra D, getting me through. Good morning, everyone. And everyone with allergies, I feel you this morning. We are bringing you a live picture here from the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. No metering lights on. Look at that. So smooth. Really looking good. It's a lot busier, though, on the western span of the bridge as you make your way into San Francisco, but still not that bad. So I need to know what else everyone is doing on Friday because it's looking really great. The only issue we have right now is a crash on the Dumbarton Bridge at the high-rise. Thankfully, no injuries reported here, but speeds are around 35 miles per hour as you approach the crash site. So just be aware of that delay, and I'll let you know when it clears up. Also, Highway 1 in Big Sur is expected to reopen by April 30th. In January, a landslide caused an issue there, so we weren't able to get through on the roadway. So Caltrans says crews began to fill the canyon in March. Repairs to the massive piece of scenic highway is now 2 months ahead of schedule and will be ready way ahead of the busy summer season. We'll be right back.
Today could be the biggest day yet in the murder trial for Derek Chauvin. The medical examiner that performed the county autopsy on George Floyd is expected to testify today. Yesterday, a pulmonologist described how he believed Derek Chauvin's knee made it impossible for George Floyd to breathe, showing the jury x-rays and walking them through the process in detail.
The knee remained on the neck for another 3 minutes and 2 seconds after we reached the point where there is not 1 ounce of oxygen left in the body. That half of his body weight plus half his gear weight is coming down, that's 91.5 pounds, is coming down directly on Mr. Floyd's neck.
Dr. Tobin said that Chauvin's actions would have killed a healthy person with no underlying health problems. A toxicologist also challenged the defense's claim that Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose. ABC7 is streaming gavel-to-gavel coverage on our ABC7 Bay Area Connected TV app that's available for Roku and similar devices.
New at 6, American and United Airlines are grounding some 737 MAX planes yet again. And this comes as Boeing announced a new issue with the model. This time, it's with the electrical system. Boeing says airlines need to verify that one of the components of the plane's electrical system is sufficiently grounded. The company is working with the FAA to address this issue. American will ground 17 of the 24 planes they own. United will ground 16 of the 30 they have in their fleet. All 737 MAX planes were grounded worldwide from March of 2019 through November of 2020 after 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people. A popular San Jose restaurant is getting ready to move as Google prepares for its massive development project. Poorhouse Bistro says it plans to relocate a half-mile to Little Italy by the end of the year. But it's not just moving its beignets. The entire New Orleans-style restaurant, which is a transformed 100-year-old home, will make the journey too. It currently sits on land purchased by Google for its Downtown West development.
You know, I had ideas of possibly maybe being in the Google Village, but realistically, it's going to be a 10-year build out here.
Poorhouse Bistro says it will continue to serve its customers throughout the move.
Start planning your summer vacation. Disney has announced the new Avengers campus is going to open at Disney California Adventure June 4th. The Avengers campus will include a new ride, food, and Marvel characters. The new attraction is a 3D ride called Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. Disneyland itself opens April 30th for California residents with a reservation. Today, you can view a calendar with available dates, and then on Monday, people who already have a ticket can make their reservation. Sales for everybody else in California starts April 15th, and Disney is the parent company of ABC7.
Fred,
Disney, yes?
Are you keeping, you go ahead.
I was going to say, Disney California Adventure Avengers Campus is a mouthful.
It is. That's a lot. And I also feel like, I was going to say, there is a lot to keep track of. It seems like they have so many new things with this opening, the reopening.
It looks really cool. I'm excited about this new Spider-Man ride. And then they have a eatery that is based on Ant-Man, which I'll just remind you that Mike and I are in.
Just throw that out there.
Oh, my elbow's in it. You're prominent in it.
Shout out to your elbow, though.
Yes. It's still making me some residuals. I appreciate that. Yes. Woohoo. Get those checks. All right, here's a look. They're fun to have, but they're not much. But still, it was a pretty cool experience. Here we go in San Rafael. We're looking south at some high clouds. It's 47. We've got the west wind at about 1 to 7 miles per hour. You can see some of the low clouds spilling in over the East Bay Hills and into the East Bay Valleys as we look south from Walnut Creek. Let's talk about today. It's going to be mainly sunny, gusty, and cooler. Our coolest day moving forward as we have a warming trend away from the coast beginning tomorrow and absolutely no rain in this 7-day forecast. Here's a look at our players, but a new one. We've got another high pressure developing, and that's the one that's going to settle over the Bay Area and bring the warmer weather and also knock the breezes down a little bit away from the coast. So for today, we've got mid 60s to near 70 in the South Bay, 63 to about 71 from Sunnyvale to Morgan Hill. San Bruno, 60 to 65 in Redwood City. Look at those mid 50s with the fastest winds along the coast today. Upper 50s in downtown and South San Francisco. Through the North Bay Valleys, we've got 66 to about 71 degrees. Mid 50s with more sunshine at the coast in the North Bay than on the peninsula. 60 to 64 along the East Bay shore. And we've got temperatures around 67 to 74 in our inland East Bay neighborhoods. Around the state today, you can see the mid 70s to low 80s through the Central Valley to about 60 in Tahoe, 96 in Palm Springs. And look at this. We'll have more cloud cover outside of the North Bay tonight where you will have 30s and 40s. The rest of us in the mid 40s to around 50 degrees. So my AccuWeather 7-day forecast, mid 50s to low 60s along the coast, upper 60s to low 70s around the Bay, and mid 70s to near 80 inland tomorrow through Thursday. Kamasi, Reggie?
Thanks, Mike. Good Morning America coming up at 7 o'clock right here on ABC7.
And Rob Marciano has a look at what's ahead.
Hey, Reggie, Kumasi, good to be with you on this Friday. Unfortunately, we start our newscast on GMA with 2 more horrific shootings overnight. One in Texas at a workplace where 7 people were shot. 1 is dead. And in South Carolina, the former NFL player who shot 5 people dead there, then turning the gun on himself. What authorities are saying about both mass shootings today in search for answers. Also ahead, the new vaccine sites halting the Johnson & Johnson shots after a small number of people had adverse reactions. I got mine. I had no problems. But what this all means for the race to vaccinate, Dr. Jha joins us live. And the new warning about those annoying robocalls. I get a bunch of them. Why we're all getting so many and what you can do to help stop at least most of them. Also, country music superstar, one of my faves, Luke Bryan's going to be on the show with his latest single, Waves. Reginald and Kumasi, you may know that my favorite Luke Bryan song, also water themed, is Rain is a Good Thing. Luke Bryan, much more at GMA.
A lawsuit over a mural at George Washington High School in San Francisco is back in court after being postponed by the pandemic. The mural, called Life of Washington, depicts colonizers stepping over the dead body of a Native American. Another shows enslaved African Americans. Parents asked for that to be removed, and the school board eventually voted to have them covered. But in 2019, the Alumni Association sued to have the vote rescinded, claiming the school board made up its mind well before any input from the public.
I was aghast at realizing everything that was said was driving it to, don't worry about this, By the fall, this will all be painted over. They've actually said this.
Meanwhile, the murals remain untouched, uncovered, and heavily guarded, pending the decision from the court. UC Berkeley officials are warning students, staff, and faculty after a cyber attack. Our media partner, the Mercury News, reports hackers were able to steal social security numbers and bank account numbers. Officials say the security breach affects all of the UC system, not just Cal. Hackers are threatening to publish the stolen information on the dark web. Officials say those affected by the breach will be notified.
Taylor Swift fans are waking up this morning to a brand new album from the pop star that's actually a blast from the past. Fearless, Taylor's version, dropped at midnight, and the album is a newly recorded version of her second studio album, which was originally released in 2008. The new release features 27 tracks, including 6 previously unreleased songs. Swift is re-recording her first 6 albums to regain ownership of her music. Well, this is like a real-life Willy Wonka. LA is now the home of a candy-themed park. It's called Sugar Rush. Here it is. And this whimsical walkthrough experience features those giant lollipops, there are cupcakes, candy, and a lot more. This attraction was built on the 50,000 square foot mall parking lot in the Woodland Hills neighborhood. But because of COVID restrictions, you don't get any real candy until you walk through the whole thing. Sugar Rush is open through May 2nd. The tickets are $30.
Oakland's police chief is still in Washington this morning after attending President Biden's announcement on gun control. He's going to join us live in the next half hour.
And we are staying on top of that breaking news, the Royal Palace in mourning with flags at half staff, taking a live look right now and a look at the legacy of Prince Philip.
Now from ABC7, live breaking news.
Now at 6:30, the end of an era. Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip, has died at 99. Buckingham Palace making that announcement early this morning. The palace shared a message saying that His Royal Highness passed away peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle.
And the world is reacting. Former President George W. Bush released a statement within the last hour saying, "Laura and I are fortunate to have enjoyed the charm and wit of his company, and we know how much he will be missed." ABC's Julia McFarland has more on his life and legacy.
He was always by her side. His life defined by his marriage to Queen Elizabeth II.
Take thee, Philip. Take thee, Philip.
Born into the Greek royal family, but later exiled from Greece, Philip eventually landed in England, joining the British Royal Navy at age 18, and soon meeting a young Princess Elizabeth. Elizabeth's ascension to the throne in 1952 changed everything. Giving up his own career, Philip spent the rest of his life walking 2 paces behind the sovereign. The couple had 4 children: Charles, the current heir to the throne, Anne, Andrew, and Edward. As consort to the Queen, Philip supported his wife in her official duties and, well, everything else. The Queen honoured Prince Philip during the Golden Jubilee celebrations, marking her 50 years on the throne.
He is someone who doesn't take easily to compliments, but he has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years. And I and his whole family owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know.
At 95, the palace announced the prince would be withdrawing from public life, putting his royal feet up after 70 years of public service. But that certainly didn't keep him homebound. He continued to celebrate family weddings and was even still driving at age 97. When he was involved in a serious car crash, his SUV flipping over, yet the Iron Duke walked away uninjured. She called him her rock, the Queen's devotion to him absolute. Today, this country closes the chapter on the longest-lasting marriage in British royal history. Julia McFarlane, ABC News, London.
Now let's take a live look at London this morning. A large group of people has been seen gathering outside of the gates at Buckingham Palace here, as is tradition for any major announcement about the royal family. That announcement about Philip's death is posted on the front gate. And of course, we will stay on top of this breaking news story. We'll bring you any developments that we get throughout the morning. In the meantime, though, we want to check in with Mike for a look at our forecast.
Okay, thank you, Kamasi. Good morning. On this Friday, we're starting clear in some areas to partly cloudy and others to even mostly cloudy through the Central Bay into the East Bay and heading into the South Bay. As you can see, thanks to those northwesterly winds. In fact, here's a look at Walnut Creek. You can see some of the low clouds and high clouds as we look south along 680 there. And some of the beautiful high clouds. Look at that gorgeous sunrise developing right now on our Exploratorium camera. But also look at those winds, 10 to 17. So it is a little gusty around San Francisco. All right, so we'll stay in the 40s through 7 o'clock. We'll stay in the 50s all the way to 4 o'clock and then 40s at the coast. Near 60 for most of us at lunch, 64 to 68 around 4 o'clock and back into the mid-50s at 7 o'clock. So a little chilly this evening. You'll need a coat if you're outside. This weekend, warmer weather's on the way. I'll have that coming up. Here's Reggie.
Mike, thank you. Now to our other top story this morning. 2 mass shootings under investigation. All of this as President Biden takes executive action on gun control. Jabina at the live desk with that. Jabina.
Thank you, Reggie. We're learning more about the suspect in the shooting rampage in South Carolina, former 49ers and Raiders player Philip Adams. He spent 5 injury-riddled seasons in the league, suffering at least 2 concussions within a 3-game period. In 2012, on Thursday, police say he shot and killed 5 people, including a prominent local doctor, his wife, and 2 grandchildren. Also, a man working at the property was found dead. Investigators say Adams later died by suicide. Police say less than 24 hours later, an employee at this cabinet company in Bryan, Texas, shot and killed at least 1 person. 4 others were critically hurt. The 27-year-old suspect also shot a state trooper before being arrested. That state trooper is said to be in stable condition.
Gun violence in this country is an epidemic, and it's an international embarrassment.
President Biden has since used executive action to tighten regulations on so-called ghost guns. He's also placing restrictions on stabilizing and encouraging states to enact red flag laws. Investigators have not released a motive for either of the shootings. Reggie and Kamasi.
Jabina, thank you. Oakland Police Chief LaRon Armstrong was the only law enforcement officer invited to D.C. for the president's announcement yesterday. He is still in Washington this morning, and he's joining us live. Chief, first of all, this is the first time we're talking to you since you've been installed, so congratulations on the position. You are entering this in a time that is quite challenging in Oakland. At one point last month, we saw homicides up 314% compared to the year to date from the year before. So what is happening in Oakland that we are seeing such gun violence spike?
Well, I think we're impacted by several different things. One in particular is an increase in ghost guns. And so being here in Washington and hearing President Biden talk about taking steps to actually produce legislation that would limit these ghost guns, I think was good for the city of Oakland. We've experienced 3 homicides in the last 24 hours in Oakland. So gun violence continues to be on the rise in Oakland, and to be here in D.C. and hear the president speak to the families that are the victims of this violence and really hear his commitment to reducing gun violence was really helpful. And I hope that the city of Oakland is the recipient of some of the grant funding that will be granted to cities for violence prevention.
Chief Armstrong, I think a lot of people might not really understand what ghost guns are. Can you talk about that and what's going on with the ghost guns in Oakland and how you think this executive action will kind of change things there?
Yeah, these are firearms that are manufactured through kits. They come in pieces and are put together by individuals. These guns do not have any serial numbers and they're unable to be tracked. And so when they're used in the community to commit a shooting, it limits the law enforcement's ability to trace that firearm, trace where it came from, the ballistics related to that firearm. And so it makes it really challenging as we seek to better understand where these guns are coming from and who used these guns in these particular crimes. And so we also know that these guns are sometimes sold to people who can't purchase firearms for some other reason, whether it's because they have an issue with mental health or they're just not permitted to have a firearm, but they are able to make these guns and not be traced. And so that loophole needs to be closed, and I think the president touched on that yesterday.
Chief, you've been with Oakland Police now for more than 2 decades, so you have a lot of experience seeing success in Oakland. It wasn't too long ago there was a 50% decrease in homicides. That was 2012 to 2017, and that's largely because of targeted efforts that Oakland Police made. What has changed that those successes have now reversed?
Well, I think the pandemic had a tremendous impact on law enforcement across the country, but in Oakland in particular. Our ceasefire strategy is our primary strategy for reducing gun violence, and we were unable to practice that ceasefire strategy in the same way that we have been doing for many years and seen a lot of success, like you mentioned. Unable to directly communicate with those at risk, but also unable to do violence interruption like we've done in the past. Oakland's Department of Violence Prevention has been really successful at making relationships with those that are involved in violence. And because of the pandemic, they weren't able to do violence prevention in the same way. We weren't able to directly communicate. And I think as the pandemic begins to move forward in terms of us moving into different tiers, we're able to actually get back to our normal way of doing our ceasefire strategy. And we're looking forward to more direct communication with those involved in violence.
Chief Armstrong, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Chief, thank you
for having me.
Still ahead, the Giants are back in action today at Oracle Park. The COVID safety measures in place to let fans inside.
And let's take a live look right now at the big board at the New York Stock Exchange. We are up right now by about 112 points. Another update on how the markets are doing next.
Preventing the spread of COVID-19 at Yosemite. Preparing for summer crowds right now. The date you'll want to keep in mind if you want to plan a visit.
All right, 6:38. We're going to check in with Mike now for a look at our forecast. Hey, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Kamasi, Reggie. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Friday morning. We'll start down in the South Bay where it's mostly cloudy and temperatures in the low to mid 40s until you get around San Jose itself, which is a little bit warmer at about 49 degrees. Mid 40s to around 50 for most of us. We've got 52 in Brentwood, Newark, and Alameda, 50, some of the warm spots. 42 in Napa, 40 in Sebastopol, some of the cooler spots. 47 in San Francisco and 48 in San Mateo right now. For the kids, yeah, it's going to stay in the mid to upper 40s through 7 o'clock as they're heading off to school. Look at that, 50s at 11 o'clock, remaining cool. And then when the weekend begins for them, it's 52 at the coast, 62 to 64 around our bay and inland neighborhoods. All right, as far as your commute, breezy bridges, not only this morning, but more so during the afternoon and evening commute. That's when the small craft advisory goes into effect. But it's also a dry breeze, so no rain in this forecast. Now, if you're wondering about air quality because you want to get outside and enjoy some of this warmer weather, it is going to be good to moderate, which is healthy for all of us all the way through the weekend. I'll give you the newest numbers on how warm it's going to get coming up in the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Let's talk more about that commute. Hoping for Friday light. Jobina, did I jinx it?
No, you didn't, Mike. For the most part, it is looking pretty good. We do have one crash. Thankfully, no injuries reported here. So I just want to give anyone a heads up that's moving through Fremont, then on southbound 880 before Auto Mall Parkway. We had a spin out there. There's a car blocking at least one lane. So now you can start to see that yellow line pop up. Very minor crash, though, there. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. Live picture here in Emeryville showing you 80. Those headlights are making their way towards the maze. The toll plaza is pretty empty right now. No metering lights on there. And I thought I'd end here with just a beautiful shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. No fog advisories, anything like that this morning. It's looking good, and we'll be right back.
If you're looking for a vaccination right now, you might be able to get one if you're willing to drive out of the Bay Area. Several vaccination sites have already opened up appointments to all adults because of a surplus of shots. And those locations include UC Davis Medical Center, which had up to 1,500 appointments not being filled every day. And Cal State Bakersfield opened up appointments to all adults, causing people to make the trip from LA. As California gets ready to expand its eligibility, we have gathered a lot of vaccine resources and updates for you. Right now on abc7news.com/vaccine, you'll find our interactive tracker, the differences between each shot, and a form where you can send us questions. Send it to the vaccine team.
It's the day many Giants fans have been waiting for. They're going to get their chance to cheer on their team at Oracle Park for the first time since the pandemic began. And of course, there are new policies in place to make sure that people are safe. ABC7 News reporter Amy Hollyfield is live outside the ballpark with what everyone needs to know. Amy.
Hi, Reggie. Yeah, only 8,900 fans can be in for this game. So that's kind of a disappointment for some, and we had heard it sold out right away. But I've got some good news that we just are learning from Mario Alioto. He is an executive with the team. What can you tell us about tickets?
Well, we just released a couple hundred seats late last night that our visiting team is not going to use. So if you're interested in coming to the game today, and if you have a negative COVID test within 72 hours, or if you're vaccinated, go to sfgiants.com. You may get lucky, and there's some great seat locations, and you got to be at opening day. This is a big day today.
You've got to bring proof of that COVID test or that you've been vaccinated for 2 weeks. Opening day is always a fun day, but this one's a little muted with only 8,900 fans. Are you disappointed? Does that take some of the fun out of the day?
Well, you know, it's not going to be like a normal opening day, but I tell you, it's 8,900 fans more than last year. And we love cutouts, but having our fans back again is just, we're very excited about that. If you think about it, our last game that we had with fans was Bruce Bochy's last game in September of 19. So it's been a while. Opening day is just a great time. Life is good again, and with everything we've all been through as a community, I think we all need just to get together and to celebrate baseball and kind of getting through all this together.
Are we going to win?
We always are. Of course, we're going to win. But I will say, the game starts at 1:35. But our ceremony starts at 1 o'clock, and you know we love our ceremonies, and we're really going to be introducing this new theme this year, which is resilient. And whether it's the community, whether it's our team, our employees, our fans, we've been through so much, and our first pitch, which is always a surprise, is a perfect example of resiliency. So come on out or watch it or listen to the game, but it's opening day, and we're very excited.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. Good luck today. I know everyone's going to be watching to see how this goes. This is the big first big event in San Francisco since the shutdown last March. You heard him say there are some tickets available for today's game. Also tickets available for the games this weekend. So get your COVID test and get on out here and cheer on our Giants. Live in San Francisco, Amy Holyfield, ABC7 News.
Amy, thank you. And more on this, Giants President and CEO Larry Baer sharing a message with fans on the team's 64th opening day, saying in part, never have those two words, opening day, held so much meaning. After 18 long months of empty stands, Oracle Park will once again open its gates, and you, the fans, can return home too.
A big announcement by the Warriors. Trailblazing president and COO Rick Welts is retiring. Welts told our colleague Larry Beal that it's time for him to move on.
I think the best is yet to come, right? That light at the end of the tunnel is a spectacularly bright future. I think we have a clear path to full buildings and business as usual. So it's a perfect time. We have a great young talent group at the Warriors running the business side, and it's time for some other people to get to take those reins and show what they can do, and they're going to do amazing things.
Welts has led business operations for the Warriors for 10 seasons, overseeing the team's championship run and construction of Chase Center. The 68-year-old has spent a total of 46 seasons with 3 teams and the NBA League office. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2018, and in 2011, he became the highest-ranking executive in men's professional team sports to publicly acknowledge he's gay. He will stay on with the team until the end of this season. Well, the Warriors are ready to welcome fans back to Chase Center. The team says fans will be allowed to attend the last 9 regular season games starting in 2 weeks on April 23rd. Capacity will be limited, though, to 35%, which is about 6,300 fans. The team will require all fans and personnel either to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test taken within 48 hours of the game.
Happening today in Battle, Florida, Congressman Matt Gaetz is scheduled to speak at a Save America Summit. It's happening at a resort owned by former President Trump. Women for America First is organizing the conference. That's the same organization that helped organize the January 6th rally in Washington, D.C. that ended with the insurrection at the Capitol building. The appearance comes as Gaetz continues to deny allegations he had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paid for sex with other women. In Pensacola, drivers are seeing a billboard along the highway that says, Matt Gaetz wants to date your child. An anti-Trump political action committee paid for that. 8 Sonoma County mayors want Windsor Mayor Dominic Fipoli to resign. The mayor signed a letter after the San Francisco Chronicle released a report detailing multiple allegations of sexual assault against Fipoli. The mayors of Cloverdale, Cotati, Healdsburg, Petaluma, Rohnert Park, Santa Rosa, and Sebastopol all signed it. The letter says they are committed to ending sexual violence in Sonoma County.
Now for your morning money report. Federal officials are set to continue tallying the votes today in Amazon's union election at its Bessemer, Alabama warehouse. The Wall Street Journal is reporting about 70% of the employees have voted not to unionize, with about half of the votes counted. The National Labor Relations Board could complete the ballot count later today. The workers are seeking to become the first Amazon employees to be unionized, which, if successful, could lead to other Amazon warehouses attempting to unionize. And here is a sign that air travel is on the rebound. Southwest Airlines is asking thousands of employees to come back to work. Right now, about 2,700 flight attendants are receiving reduced pay while on a voluntary leave of absence. The company says it needs them to come back to keep up with the summer travel schedule. About 200 pilots are also being added back in rotation. Now let's take a live look at the New York Stock Exchange as trading gets underway this morning. You can see we're up right now by about 90 points.
A new study finds a Bay Area city is the most relaxed city in the entire country. It's Sunnyvale, a top Lone Starters ranking based on 57 key indicators of Zen atmosphere. ABC News reporter Will Gans talked with Sunnyvale's mayor about what makes it such a great place to live.
People might think that everyone in California is just lounging around in our hammocks, but actually Sunnyvale is a work hard, play hard community. You know, Sunnyvale is the heart of Silicon Valley and a world-renowned job center that attracts businesses and talent from around the world. But, you know, we have beautiful weather, wonderful parks, and, you know, just selected, of course, as America's safest city. So all that adds up to being a really terrific place to be and of course, relax.
San Francisco ranked third in the study, just behind Arlington, Virginia. Bellevue and Seattle, Washington rounded out the top 5. Are you feeling relaxed?
Let me check in with myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did yourself tell you?
I feel good. It's a Friday.
It is.
Yeah, it's just feeling like a good day, Mike.
Oh, it's going to be a great day, an even better weekend. And part of that is because the Giants are playing. And it's funny, it's going to feel like summer at Oracle. Look at this, at 1:35, it's going to be mainly sunny, 56, but those breezes are going to be pretty stout. Those flags out in the outfield are definitely going to be pointing over towards Oakland. So dress accordingly. If you're sitting in the shade, you're going to want that hoodie. If you're sitting in the sun, maybe a little bit lighter. All right, here's a look from the Exploratorium. Gorgeous sunrise developing right here. And another one from San Jose. All right, let's talk about what's going to happen today. Sunny and cooler, except for the coast, the peninsula coast, where some clouds will linger. Tonight, it'll be cool again with more clouds, especially in the southern half of the bay than what we're dealing with this morning. And that warming trend away from the coast for the weekend. All right, here's a look at your highs. 63 to about 71 from Sunnyvale to Morgan Hill today. That's in the South Bay. As you head up the peninsula, about 60 to 65. Look at those windy mid-50s along the coast, and we won't make it to 60 in downtown or South San Francisco. Upper 50s there. 61 possibly in Sausalito, but mid-50s at your breezy coast where you'll see more sunshine in the peninsula coast. 66 to 71 degrees through the North Bay valleys. 60 to 64 along the East Bay Shore, with Oakland only at 62 degrees, and that's cooler than average. 67 at San Ramon to Brentwood, the warmest at about 74 degrees. Here's a look at your fog forecast. You can see how the clouds just kind of linger along the coast as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, and then they will definitely increase as we head into the overnight hours. Now, if you think about some outdoor dining, it's going to be a chilly one, even up to 7 o'clock. If you're thinking about watching the sunset at the coast, look at that, 49 degrees, and it's going to be breezy. So make sure you're in one of those sheltered places that has the nice plexiglass you can look through but blocks the wind. That's going to be the warmest. All right, 50s will remain at the coast until Tuesday, some low 60s, 68 to 72 along the bay, and 78 to about 80 inland tomorrow through Thursday. Kamasi, Reggie?
Thank you, Mike. As California aims for a June 15th goal to reopen, there is some concern that hesitancy to get the vaccine could be an obstacle in ensuring safe workplaces. According to a survey conducted by Buck, the workplace is sharply divided. Anti-vaxxers made up an estimated 6%, while pro-vaxxers were about 25% of people surveyed. Managers are being urged to use vaccine ambassadors to provide reliable information. And another thing that could help is giving people time off to get vaccinated.
Perhaps if they allow people some time off when they have their vaccine, or if they have some sick time that the person could avail themselves of, if that's a concern.
The study also found that 6 in 10 workers said that they did not trust senior management to act in their best interest. So a trusted third party like a union leader could be a good person to help reassure other people.
Yosemite National Park preparing for summer crowds by bringing back their reservation system. So starting Friday, May 21st, you're going to need a day-use reservation. That includes annual and lifetime pass holders. This is an effort to control how many people are inside the park and hopefully prevent the spread of COVID-19. The reservation system opens online at recreation.gov April 21st at 8 a.m.
Expedia is launching a tool that provides the most up-to-date information on COVID-related restrictions. Travelers will be able to find out if quarantines are required at their destination, and they can also see if they will need to show proof of vaccination or if they'll need to be tested for COVID.
Are getting a taste of technology at the Minneapolis airport. A rolling robot is now delivering food orders in Terminal 1, and here's how it works. Customers order their meal from airport vendors using their phone or their laptop, and then this droid named Jita follows behind an actual human being to deliver the food within 15 to 30 minutes. Customers then open a cube to remove their order. Jita was designed to promote social distancing.
I think the person is there to protect Jita, now that you mention that. Because what if someone, like, snatches Jita up? You don't get your food. She's kidnapped.
She's robot napped. Wouldn't it be cooler, though, if there wasn't if the robot's going to go out there, like, let the robot go out there.
And then she would need ways to protect herself, and then you'd be mad.
Well.
See? And then you'd be talking about she's trying to take over and attack people. Pick one.
You know who I pick? I pick a person. I just pick a person. You know what? Get your butt out of the seat, walk over to the counter, order it like a normal person, and take your food back.
That's true.
Solved it.
Done. Well, coming up next, the 7 things you need to know today.
As we had to break a live look outside, we always have to come up with all the answers, and someone's blowing bubbles.
Oh,
so I don't.
fun.
That's cute. Everything's happening. We'll be right back.
It is 6:57. If you're just joining us, here are the 7 things to know this morning. Number 1, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, has died at the age of 99. Buckingham Palace says the prince died peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle. Last month, Philip returned home after a month-long stay at the hospital where he underwent a heart procedure.
Number 2, a volcano on the Caribbean island of St. Vincent has erupted. Thousands of people in the path of lava and ash are under evacuation orders. Smoke has been rising from the volcano for days.
Number 3, next week, available doses of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine are expected to drop nearly 85% from around 5 million this week to 785,000. Officials are blaming a mix-up of ingredients at a plant that ruined millions of doses before they were sent out.
Number 4, it is opening day at Oracle Park. The Giants will allow fans back for the first time in 18 months. Only about 8,900 fans who have passed a recent COVID test or have been vaccinated fully will be allowed to attend.
All right, number 5, your weekend. Look at that warming trend away from the coast, where 60s and 70s will become more dominant while the 50s remain at the coast.
Number 6, bringing you a gloomy picture from the San Mateo Bridge. Traffic is moving at the limit there, and pretty much everywhere else around the Bay Area, no major blocking issues to report.
And number 7, the new Avengers campus is set to open at Disney California Adventure on June 4th. It'll feature Marvel characters and a 3D ride that's called Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. Disneyland itself will open on April 30th for California residents with a reservation. Disney is the parent company of ABC7.
Do you want me to tell you about this ride?
Tell me, friend.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go in these little cars, right? And you know how on other games you sort of shoot using a gun or some other mechanism? Well, instead of that, you use your hands. You just go like this, and then it slings the web from your hand and then captures the little spider bots.
Oh, wow.
That's fun.
That is cool.
Let's go.
All right.
Are you in?
I'm in.
Yeah.
Did I sell it?
Happy Friday,
First in
everyone.
line.